Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 20 of the Sickcast, aka the Siblings in Cardboard podcast. I'm your host, Donnie, joined by my buddies slash co-hosts, Noah and Thomas, and this week we have a special guest with us once again. Well, I say once again, but it's just for us. This is the first time we've got our friend, local Guardian legend, Mr. Justin Evans. Whether you're a veteran card gamer or a first-timer just testing the waters, we are all Siblings in Cardboard. Guys, how have things been since the last time we talked?
Sleeping. That's all I've been doing. I didn't play any Flesh and Blood. Only slept. I've been recovering from being sick.
No games, only COVID?
Yeah, no games, only COVID.
You gotta take care of yourself first, so it's okay. Get your rest, relax. You got a lot going on.
Yeah. I've been in a Vincent hole, kind of in this downtime after Orlando. I was just like, I'm going to pick I guess after the DreamHack event, I went down a Vincent hole, and I've been slowly coming back out of it, but she is way too much fun.
She is a very fun hero.
Hey.
I mean, when she's doing the thing, she's absolutely awesome, but it's those hands where she doesn't do the thing, and you're just kind of like, oh, well, okay, I'm just gonna lose. That's
we
cool.
played a game
cool.
2 weeks ago that like mathematically came down to 1 point. You were even scooping, and I'm like, wait, you still have boots. You could block with boots, and then you beat me with the Sigil of Suffering.
Yeah, that was fun. Like, she's been interesting because it's like I've been playing a lot of consistent heroes, and then going to a deck and trying to make it as consistent as possible when it's not naturally a consistent hero has been interesting to do. There's been a lot of new tech pieces or new staple pieces to that deck that have made it much better since the last time I picked it up.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about the Sonata Galaxia that's coming out in Heavy Hitters. That actually looks like it's going to be a good piece to go along with the Runeblood Incantation. I mean, tutors are good, and having more consistent Runebloods, I think that's going to be a trick. But maybe that's just my opinion.
We'll see. There's got to be reasons to search for things, but tutors are always going to be good eventually, right? There will be something worth tutoring at some point.
Justin, why don't you tell the listeners who you are, maybe why you're here, give us kind of a breakdown on your history in Flesh and Blood and everything. Just kind of introduce yourself.
All right, so I started playing Flesh and Blood end of Monarch. Actually, it was the Tuesday night before the first Calling Vegas that other local Sebastian made the finals of. And I show up that night. I didn't own any cards. And other local, Willie B, handed me basically his chain deck because he wasn't playing it for that event. Handed it to me for the night and said, hey, here you go. And since then, I've been hooked. It's been a great game to me. It's met a lot of really good people. Results-wise, topped lots of PQs, RTMs, all that kind of stuff on, I think I was counting this the other day, I think 7, 8 different heroes. And then most recently was top 8 at the DreamHack event playing Kano because I was like, I'm finally just going to whip out Kano and have it and have some fun. But I've mostly played Bravo. I've brought Bravo to Nats 2022. Yeah, 2022. And then just played way too much old him while he was still legal. And then once he rotated out, kind of played Icelander and Bravo.
Yeah, I can confirm way too much Oldhim.
Yeah.
I kind of got beat up by that Oldhim quite a bit, especially when I was first learning how to play.
Yeah. Yeah. Stalagmite, good card. We really like Stalagmite.
Oh
Yeah.
man, it is
So good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like ice in general is just great.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It is.
I'm still glad it's gone.
No. Yeah.
So I think we brought Justin on because we've got a lot of Guardian stuff to talk about. We had a lot of Brute stuff the past few weeks, but now everyone's getting super hype about the next Guardian stuff hitting Heavy Hitters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lots of Guardian stuff moving around, I'm sure.
not really. You'd think, but I don't think the card pool necessarily is that fleshed out. And I don't necessarily know how the old Guardian cards are going to speak to the new Guardians. I mean, I'm sure they will, right? But there's no big fluctuations. Let's say. I mean, I think people are picking up some of the staples, but they're not like flying off the shelves. No no Guardian piece I've seen has jumped. In fact, they've actually went down, but we'll talk about that when we get into the market minute.
Wait, when we get in the market minute, I thought that was
No,
probably
bro-
going to be the
oh,
most
is that-
seamless segue
that was
we've
the
ever
seamless
done.
Yeah, that was the transition.
I set you up perfectly,
no!
man. What?
Man, they set that up. No, so let's go ahead. We'll talk about it then. Let's get right into it. Starstruck. Starstruck's a premier card. So premier, in fact, that they had to limit it in Living Legend. But that's more for Starvo. But we just like to throw that out there. So it actually went down. I believe we've talked about Starstruck before. It was pretty healthy above 20. Maybe even upwards like 25. But it's down to 13. And so it's dropped down a little bit. I think it's pretty fair. Maybe just a more of an influx of Dust Till Dawn being bought again. And the cards put out, but I just don't know if the market's going to move yet until the next major event in a big way. Prism had a good spike. The Brute spike kind of happened. The Warrior, like everything's kind of spiked with these heavy hitter releases, right? Just slightly, but they've all kind of normalized. Like nothing's jumped the shark just yet. Like Blood Rush Bellows kind of came back down a little bit. Berserk, they all came back down a little bit. So Starstruck's on the downside right now, at least, until we get to see the bigger card pool.
That might be a direct result of that restriction in the Living Legend format. There's just more copies available because you only need one for LL, right?
I mean, I guess, right? I mean, if that's something that you're building, particularly like you just have Starvo, so you only have Guardian cards when you play LL. I mean, there might be a percentage of players. I mean, it was the most played deck. I don't know. I think people are really on the fence. I don't think people understand what the meta is going to be. Maybe it's not clear. Bravo did win a previous tournament we're going to talk about later, so you'd think there'd be more Guardians in the upswing, but Guardian's never been really one of those like pile on type things. Like I guess old him, but that's a different kind of a Guardian.
Have any Guardian cards spiked at all after the most recent hero announcement?
Like Terra Sunder went up ever so slightly, and I have it listed just because I think it's a very powerful card. But I mean, we're talking $1. We're talking very small kind of just uptick of people buying it. Guardian cards are selling. Spinal Crushes, Cranial Crushes, whatever, they're selling. They're just not going up because I don't think there's a lot of Guardian players. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I think that there's enough Guardian players. I just don't think that there's a lot of Guardian players. And the cards just seem very readily available. It is still one of the cheapest decks, I think, to build. Even Civic Steps, right? Those sick boots, I have them listed here as well. They're down to $12. They were like $25.
What?
Yeah, a lot of people I think were also jumping in on trying to abuse the whole round the table kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I buy it and then I separate the cards out kind of a thing. So I think when enough people try and jump on that, it'll bring the ceiling down. But also you only need one copy. So once you get your copy, you're kind of, there's only so many new players that are going to need a copy of Civic Steps. But yeah,
Also,
none of the.
I feel like that we might get some Guardian boots that don't give your opponent a quicken token.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I mean, Civic
I don't
Steps
care,
are
dude. I don't care
pretty
about the quicken token. That
Yeah.
thing, that's fine.
I think Civic Steps are nuts. I think they're just really good. I think you let them have the quicken token.
good. Well, you got to time it right.
Yep, it's a skill check. Just know, hey, does the attack they're throwing at you right now have go again? And they're about to throw their chain ender? Yeah, just throw the boots right there. That's a good time.
I mean, it looks like Pulverize. I had it listed. It looks like only the rainbow foil has shot up. So I guess the whole clash mechanic, it's a big number. Ooh, big numbers, 14. Beat Shaden Death Hydra too, which we're going to talk about later. Because I was like, who's beating Guardian in a clash? I was like, Brood, they got a big 13. That's a big 14. So it went up. It spiked. They were like $6 rainbow foils. They're now up to 12. So they doubled. I mean, that's pretty decent. But the normal one, no. Like Rouse the Ancients, I thought maybe come up a little bit. No. Crater Fist is still sitting at $12. So most of them really low. One I want to ask your opinion on, Justin, is what is it going to take for Grandeur of Valhai to have any relevance whatsoever?
So that was actually one of the cards I was going to talk about later. I actually think I like the card right now. Actually, I think this is a fantastic time to pick it up.
Oh, good.
Tell us about it.
Tell us.
Go ahead and hit it.
Yeah. Okay. So you've seen both the new specs of Beck Big and the Golden Sun are both at like 4 cost point, right, for a Guardian, and obviously like a blue pitch it's only worth 3 resources. So just being able to, and both of them have proactive game plans, or can have proactive game plans. So that's where Grandeur normally fits in, is whenever you're not swinging a weapon that cares about pitch. So I don't really care about swinging an Othos in those situations. And I'm trying to like create value for the next turn so I can do my 4 cost tribal thing. So I think that this is a spot where it might show up. Like, especially if there might be like a Betsy deck that really uses Grandeur well.
And Grandeur is the blue pitch that creates a seismic surge, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is the Fabled from Everfest, and it says when you pitch Grandeur of Valhalla, create a Seismic Surge token. And that Seismic Surge token will proc for the following turn, correct?
Basically bigger. It's Guardian bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, that's since I like what you're saying. It's because these Guardians are going for a setup game plan that Valhalla is a setup card. You're getting the 3 now, but you're getting that 1 extra later. But that 1 extra later is what the deck wants anyway. It wants the setup, which is what Guardians typically do. Turn off, turn on, kind of. Well, I mean, unless you're running hot, but turn off, get the big setup, slam.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I like it. I think it is a perfect time. Guys, the card is sitting at 135. It's one of the lowest cold foil Fables I've seen. I think there's a couple that are down there. I don't want to say the lowest because I think the lowest is actually the Drakai. The one from...
That would make sense.
It's the one that literally has no way to make play ever.
Yeah, it's rough. But this card's been going down. It's actually been going down. I've been tracking it since it was at 180, and it has done nothing but go down. But it could go back up. I mean, look at Light of Soul. Light of Soul tanked, and then it had like super reinvigoration from Prism. It's sitting at 280 right now for the cold foil, and it was down to 140. I remember it doubled. It went right back to where it was. So,
how are the other Fables doing? The Eye and the Heart.
Heart's down to 289, and Eye's at 325. Wow. Yeah, Heart has maybe when the whole fatigue pack. We'll talk about it. Because Heart goes in every fatigue deck, in my opinion, although it doesn't block, but it still does in a way. Maybe it'll go back up. There's just nobody running Heart. There's no reason. Right now, the meta's so fast for most of these decks that I don't think anybody cares about second cycle. Ninjas, you playing second cycle? No. I mean, like maybe with the I'm just what I'm saying. I think the market is in a lull right now because nobody knows how good and relevant heavy hitters is going to be to shake things up. And what kind of a meta, if it's still going to be super fast or if there's going to be a fatigue wall in the way. But Heart's down, Eye of Ophidia is 325, and then Arknight Shard's actually on the rise just because I think Crucible boxes are becoming so hard to get. Yeah, Arknight Shard is actually... So Crucible... I'll give you guys a little bit of a heads up. Tales of Aria is going to be a really cheap set right now. It will eventually go so high that I think you should, like, I am going to buy as much first edition Tales of Aria as I physically can get my hands on. And I will sit it behind me in metric stacks until I need to open it, because I actually pulled a cold foil Stalagmite. It was amazing. I was so excited when I saw it. I wanted it so bad. Now I just need the Rams. I was like, I did it. You know, one more piece of the collection. But Ram's still holding its value. You guys would think Ram would be like, I checked it today, $70 cold foil. That's crazy. Card's not even legal, technically.
Wait, why is it not legal?
Bravo's
not playing it. I mean, it's 100% legal.
Yeah, it's just not being played right now.
It's not legal. Don't worry about it.
There's hints in heavy hitters that they want fatigue to be back in the game.
I think so. That's why I think the Heart and the stuff will eventually get back up. But right now the Fables are kind of wonky. Master Cog's way down. There's no use for it. Heart's on the decline. Eye of Ophidia stable. Arknight's on the rise. And Light of Soul's on the rise. And what's the other one? Nobody cares about the Solanas. They just look amazing. Which I care about that they look good. But they're not being played.
How many Arknight Shards have you pulled at locals? It's like 3 or 4, right?
I've pulled 2, and then I bought one a long time ago for like $80.
Oh, well, man,
yeah. So I kind of like that card.
The Rainbow Foil's actually almost over 300. It's been climbing. It's getting there.
What?
Yeah, It's getting there. So just a couple more cards and then we'll get off of it. I wanted to check back in with some of the other meta defining cards. We've talked in the past just to see how they're doing. Twin Drive is still actually sitting pretty stable at $28 and the foils at $38, which I think is pretty surprising. The card still has quite a lot of value. It's just nice to see it still propped up. Not as crazy as it was in those really high spike days, but it's still doing well. I just wanted to check in on that. And Already Dead is still sitting comfortably at $30 right now for non-foils, and like 31, 32 for foils. Yeah.
I was thinking that Already Dead was back down around 20. It's still at 30?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not a $30 card.
It's really not. I mean,
the 2 for 6
maybe it will
assassin
be.
card, I guess.
Assassins like their big sixes, okay? They want to feel the card is really good for what it can do. I don't know if it's $30 good though.
But Uzuri's not even using it. It's just Arachne.
Yeah. Well, I got 4 cold foil Arachne heroes sitting behind me that say he's going to be really good soon, okay? So don't sleep on him. I will bring it to locals and I will contract.
Yeah, if you've got the adult Arachne, you and me need to talk. Like
I do.
Friday.
I have 4 of them. So I picked some up so we can spread them around. I actually have a young KO too. I told you I'm playing KO and Blitz. Last card, Tome of Imperial Flame. Dromai has taken a huge backseat, $25 non-foil, and it looks like about $40 for the foil. So definitely dropped quite a bit from the original hype, from the Dromai's going to destroy the game talk. That hero will eventually destroy the game for a very short period of time when it gets a card.
Giving her cards.
Yeah, once she gets one more meta-defining destruction like red, it'll be another red that's absolutely crazy, and she'll destroy the whole meta. It'll be a clean sweep, maybe.
Yeah, we'll all have to panic again and claim that LSS.
I don't know, man. There's
fast track Dromai. We'll see.
But that's it. Market's kind of weird. Pick up your Tales of Aria first ed though, and your Monarch too, and your Everfest. Seriously, don't sleep on Everfest. I hear it from all the sellers. They sell those Majestics the fastest.
Okay, what about the cold foil items from Everfest? Specifically, Energy Potion. Has that done anything?
That's not an Everfest card.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Energy Potion wasn't Everfest. I thought it came out in Everfest with the foil treatment.
No,
that is a Welcome to Wraith.
That's a Welcome to Wraith card. And
I'm
sure the cold foil of
about.
that bad boy is probably still a small fortune.
Yeah.
And I guess you're trying to lead into the promo
I'm setting it up. I'm throwing the softballs, and we'll see where it lands.
What happened to it with the nice new promo. Sometimes it's hard to tell what's going to happen to the old cards that used to be considered the max rarity. Even though I think a Welcome to Wraith alpha card is still
probably still
there is no cold foil epot from Welcome to Wraith. It did not come in cold foil. No. There is a cold foil promo. Energy pot that is $350, which will probably which will probably go down because these are cold foil, I believe, and they're also alternate art, and they look extremely nice.
Oh, they are pretty.
And we also talked about the Grand Tour of the Valahai too. That package that you're getting for Pro Tour also has that nice playmat. Grand Tour of the Valahai
that's
playmat.
a good looking mat.
Does it really?
It looks really sharp too.
Might be time to pick up a few more Grandeur of the Valhais before they but Pro Tour, I'm gonna be like I'm gonna be 6 different people in all side events, playing 6 different games at once to get as many epots as I can.
Okay, so this is your confirmation you are gonna be at Pro Tour?
I plan on tagging along with you to Pro Tour,
nice.
to give you some support and stuff, and I want to go talk to the min-max people, and I love I like going to the events. I'm going to spend money and talk to people and play side events to have a good time.
See if you get recognized. That'd be pretty cool.
Somebody will remember me.
But yeah,
the card guys will be there.
The new promo Energy Potion is gorgeous. Is it the same artist who did the new sigil? I think that was hinted. Like, I'd have to look, but the art style is similar.
Which sigil?
Maybe?
When we
The
say
sigil
sigil, are we
solace
talking
from
about
Worlds.
this from Worlds? So
Yeah,
the I don't.
Yeah,
I would have to
double
pull
check
up.
that.
I'd have to
But,
pull up the one and then pull up the other.
While we could move on. While we're talking about that, we also had an event this past weekend.
Yep.
Which
We
was
did.
Battle Hardened Cincinnati. I really wanted to go, but yeah, at that point I was barely staying awake.
Yeah, I honestly just kind of glossed over the fact that there was a Battle Hardened last weekend. I didn't really even register that it had already come up. I guess the season is starting again. Go figure. I mean, everything has been so hyped for heavy hitters, I just completely forgot.
Yeah. I mean,
We
there
haven't even
still are
begun.
events happening. It is like a little bit of like a lame duck season, right? Everyone's waiting for heavy hitters, but there are still
I don't
things
think so.
happening.
I don't think I don't think it's a lame duck format right now. I mean, we are still trying to figure things out and we're preparing for heavy hitters, but there's a lot to explore right now. I mean,
I think it's an
Yeah.
exploration period right now. I think people are playing Bolton. I think I'm not saying they're bad heroes, but people are playing everything because they want to see what it does. Like right now is a very good time to just say, hey, what if this? What if I play this? What if I play this? What if I play that? Because the meta feels very open. Are you going to win on every hero? Maybe not, but you'll have your caveat. But right now it feels very open. You're not getting taxed with ice. There's no Lexi. Azalea is your most oppressive sort of shutdown deck in terms of, like really crippling on hits. Things feel pretty good right now. A lot of decks speak to each other unless you're getting intimidated and one-shotted by a brute. So you feel pretty good. It's a very good testing phase. Like I said, the decks aren't going to come out and people aren't going to start doing this like fire sell until the first major event that heavy hitters has come in and put some kind of influence to. And then I think you're going to see people go, that's the meta. Right now, I think we're in a very big speculation phase. Although maybe people are holding a lot of cards. I don't know. People hold that information close to chest. They don't want to let people know what they're working on.
The meta for that tournament, I don't think we know what the full player list was, but the top 8 was pretty interesting.
Yeah, there wasn't a meta breakdown that I could find other than the top 8 because the event wasn't like production level streamed. But shout out to Siphon TCG who was walking around with their phone, streaming what games they could.
At least to
more
get some
power to you.
coverage.
Thank you for that.
Thank you
Yeah,
for that, man.
thank you for
Any
that.
gameplay is better than no gameplay, so we really appreciate that. So we can
Much
at least get
appreciated.
some insight on what's going on there.
And so the top 8 was 1 Katsu, 3 Bravos, 1 Dash Inventor Extraordinaire, 1 Levia, 1 Phi, and 1 Bolton. And the finals happened to be the MNR podcast. Michael Hamilton and Roger Bodie, which is probably the coolest thing I've ever seen happen.
That's a storyline you want to follow. That is freaking
it's
great.
so sad that there wasn't like live coverage of Michael Hamilton and Roger Bodie facing each other down in the finals.
They did record it though, and they are gonna do like a M&R University.
Oh,
nice!
I'm excited because Roger just sometimes he gets a little bit unhinged. I just excited to see him have that like unhinged look on his face as he's just getting beat down by Bravo. I'm sure it ends in some spectacular way too, with a dominated crippling crush to the face.
I don't know. But I am definitely interested in going back and watching that game. I don't care about either one of those heroes right now because I'm not a Guardian or a Light Warrior player, but
not yet.
Not yet.
Bolton's been fun.
But I do like the storyline. Say what, Justin?
Bolton's been fun.
I might build Bolton. Everybody keeps telling me to build it. I might build it. I'm on a new year, new me kind of on a fix. So Prism, I'm actually gonna make Prism, even though I hate it. It feels.
Don't bring that on Tuesday.
Wait.
Don't bring that on Tuesday.
Come on, relax.
We called it. Donnie called him the Guardian aficionado, but I was introduced to Justin as the illusionist hater.
I am first and foremost before everything else. I'm an illusionist hater.
They say don't bring Dory. They say don't bring Prism. What am I supposed to bring? No,
Katsu. Katsu. You're a Katsu player now.
I do like Katsu. Katsu's definitely going to be up there too. But Prism isn't bad with all these big cards floating around. I mean, we'll talk about it later when we talk about Guardian. But dude, I don't see how you play. It's a brute Guardian slam ham fest with a bunch of 14s and 8s.
I mean, Phantasmal Footsteps is a card.
So is Ghostly Touch. I get that, but I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm not the biggest Prism player, not yet at least. I was an Azalea main for a long time, so. But
Why does that joke get me every time?
So let's
I just don't.
let's get into the new cards then.
Yeah, let's do it. The nitty gritty. What's going on? What the meta's going to look like? How good these Guardians are.
So the last hero got spoiled by a TCG player. His name is Victor Goldmane from Is That All You Got fame. I think that might be the first time he had a quote is on that card.
Oh, yeah.
Victor Goldmane, High and Mighty, 4 intellect, 40 health. The first time each turn you create a gold token from an effect you control, draw a card. The first time each turn you would fail to win a clash. Instead, you may destroy a gold you control. If you do, put one of the revealed cards on the bottom of its owner's deck, then clash again. It's like a better Acct ability almost. Seems pretty strong.
It seems pretty good. Pretty good, right?
That's one of the best text boxes we've seen since maybe Icelander.
Yeah,
really?
That's
even the first part of it.
That's a take.
That's pretty nuts.
Why do you think that?
Okay, so we don't know the card pool yet, and obviously there's some like speculation to it and all that kind of stuff. And I am also a notorious non-speculation person. But if you look at what the text box does with gold, right? Okay, we already have a test of strength, right? Which is the 4 block. It only comes, by the way, it only comes in red. We're not going to get a cycle of that card, so no rainbow test of strength shenanigans. But okay, you block, you win your clash, you make the gold, you draw that card. So that card blocked for 4, made a gold token, and drew a card. So already, if you get 3 block value off the top, that is a 1 card 7 defensively, right? Wow. So it's a very strong defensive power spike. And really that is something that has been out of the game since Oldhim. We haven't had a defensive power spiking hero since, and that is a big deal. And that's the defensive side of it. The offensive side of it, I don't know if this card's going to make the final deck, but like look at wage gold, right? Where this says anytime you wager, right? Like, and when you attack with this, you can wager a gold, right? If that hits, you draw a card. And okay, buckling blow blue or whatever is on the top of your deck sucks. But when it comes in, when you get that card for free, who cares? Like you're now having essentially a 1 card 6 on the next turn. So yeah, that text box, like drawing cards in Guardian is really, really, really good. And it's been something that the class has had a really hard time doing.
I mean, all he really needed to be Golden Truly was just an Earth title, right? Just so you can have Crown of Seeds back.
Stop.
Yeah. It's a lot more fair this time around because Crown of Seeds was just like a sat on the board. It was a static effect. Right?
Hero power is a static effect.
Right, but it requires you to have cards that activate the ability.
Fair.
Right, so you have to draw Test of Strength. Your only defensive power spike in the deck right now is Test of Strength. Now, if they print a bunch of cards that defensively clash, that create gold tokens, obviously, that's gross.
Maybe one more, right?
Yeah, like there might be a majestic 0 for 3 defense reaction clash, make a gold. Like that might be where we go, but like it's much more fair because you're not going to have that defensive power spike every time you cast Art of War, right? Like as a Fi or a Katsu or whatever. Like, all right, it's my big combo turn. Oldhim used to always go, all right, cool, Tunic, Crown of Seeds. And then he just blocked with his whole hand.
You also can't save it.
Yes, that's the other thing, is that like when you draw Test of Strength, you have to play Test of Strength that turn. There is no like trying to line it up, right? You just get the value right there.
Which I think is really fair compared to like a defense reaction. If you could like sit it in Arsenal and wait till the person actually throws a turn that you want to block that ton of free damage for, that's much more oppressive. Are there any other Clash cards that you would that are out right now that you think would go into a Victor deck?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. Well, actually, the Grindstone. Yeah, the Hammer.
Yeah,
Miller time.
That
Miller time. Okay, hold on.
That
Let me
thing
read
is
this is the
really-
weapon that came out with him. I'll read it out.
The thing is ridiculous.
Okay, Miller's Grindstone.
Yeah.
Once per turn action, pay 3, attack. It's a 4 attack weapon. When this hits a hero, clash with them. If you win, destroy the top card of their deck. If they win, put a -1 counter on this.
This is
It's
gross.
literally
Yeah,
millstone.
This
It's
is
great.
gross.
Yeah, that card's gross. Like I'm excited to test with that card just because to me the interesting part of that text box is that it's essentially a Titan's Fist adjacent, right? Where it's a one-handed weapon, comes in for 4 base.
Oh my god! I just saw it was one-handed. Oh my! You could shield with this. This is that's cheating. This is absolutely
the
cheating.
hint
you could
that they
do it,
want
yeah.
fatigue to be in the game.
This is ludicrous because because you will fatigue your opponent because there's not many decks that you're not going to win a clash against, and you'll nix cards off the top. Like you will get the card advantage eventually from that.
I think the only person winning a clash against Victor is another Guardian. Like
Bravo.
his ability to top deck a card is going to make it where like you're not going to get lucky twice. Usually, it'll be pretty hard to happen.
Right. And if you're running the grindstone, you're not going to run the grindstone in the mirror or like against Leviah or something like that. You're going to be running it against ninjas and that kind of thing where your only real risk you're running into is okay, maybe you flip over your D react off the top of your deck, but if you both flip attack actions, like yours should always be bigger and you're going to win the clash. But even if you lose like a clash and you get the -1 counter, it's still like really strong. Like they still have to block it every time.
It's still taking a card. The 4 is just so nasty because it's assuming you're never going to lose it, which you probably won't. And that 4 break point is backbreaking. Nobody can block that 4 break point for as long as they can. And putting a card in front of it's essentially losing 2 cards because you block 3, take 1, you lose the card off. It's silly. It makes no sense. You eat the 4 damage every time, and you're going a card down. And for decks that need those cards, running against these bulky, because he's going to be semi-bulky, it's going to be tough. He is going to be very tough for some decks to get through if he's constantly getting that.
I feel like the smart players too at the end game, they're gonna screw with people's pitch stacks too with this. The clash mechanic.
The other thing that I like about this card is that unlike Titan's Fist, where Titan's Fist looks at like the 3+ cost cards, this one doesn't. So all the tech cards that you haven't been able to run in Guardian because they're just don't turn on hammers, like suddenly they're back available to you. Yeah, like Grandeur. Literally Grandeur.
Yeah,
like,
literally Grandeur. No, this is like the sickest Grandeur weapon I've just dump it, gain my seismic, smack 3. I did it all. That's so I'm a Guardian main. You sold me on it. I'll be playing Victor because I can't play Dory into this. I'm already imagining the matchup and it makes me sick.
Okay, so how does this actually compare to the other best one-handed weapon ever printed? How does it compare to Winter's Whale?
Well, this is nowhere near Winter's Whale. That card was cracked. Like that card was...
Okay.
No, this is
so it's not
the
Earth isn't ending. The world's not going to be destroyed. Okay, cool.
So I don't know if this will get played, but there are other cards that are showing up in this kind of fatiguey style that came out the same time as he did, and that's like stacked in your favor, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a Guardian Action Aura. These are usually not great. You have like Showtime, and then what's the other one that you use to get Showtime?
Imposing Visage.
Yeah, that. This is a 2 cost red, yellow, or blue, 2 defense, so it doesn't block well, but it has go again, and your attack action cards get +3 defense while defending. At the start of your turn, destroy this, draw cards, and put a card from your hand on top of your deck.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem terrible.
I
hate this card.
Yeah.
I think it's bad, but I think it's going to be very good for limited, which is like
that's what I was gonna.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. I think this is like fatigue strats and limited for me, right? Like you just set this out and you just go for a block if you have card advantage. I mean, you could seriously you're blocking for 5 with one of your 6 actually with one of your attack actions. So you could block 1 card 6. So you play that, you just swing a weapon, take the turn, block 6, and return 2 cards. I mean, like that's a fatigue strat for me. There are gonna be a lot of people fatiguing in limited.
I think it's
in
interesting because there's a lot of 4 costs, I think, in Guardian, and in especially in limited, you'll be able to pitch 2 blues. You play this, you play your 4 cost attack, and that's a really strong turn in limited. Really strong.
I think this card is actually kind of interesting because either way, you know your opponent's not going to get full value out of their turn. Either you drop this, and either they're going to attack into everything that you're wanting to block with, and just get stonewalled, or they're going to save everything and not swing, in which case you've got a full hand to come at them next turn. So it actually sets up an interesting play there, or an interesting decision point for the opponent, which Guardians don't have a lot of decision points like that, right? It's just present attack, deal with this.
Yeah, and limited is going to be great just because this type of effect usually does really well versus other really tall decks, right? So we're talking like a Dory that's trying to pump up like a big Dawn Blade, the Guardian Mirrors, Brutes, like that kind of thing, right? But you're not really like blocking with a ton of cards in those matchups, and you're not usually blocking for like very big numbers with multiple cards, if that makes sense. So like, yeah, sure, I'm spending 2 cards here to like block 6, right? If effectively, right? Because the red version gives you +3 on the block.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
it does good things like that in limited because it's going to help you manage fatiguing yourself, and also obviously setting up the wagers and kind of getting the hand fix a little bit, which is a big downside to Guardian, is that like sometimes you just draw all blues or sometimes you draw all reds, and this gives you a chance to look at the top card of your deck and fix it. And that's like the advantages of it. But in constructed, it's like, hey, build a better deck, and this card really shouldn't fit.
Another card that probably doesn't fit that came out at the same time as Boast, which is a majestic blue 3-block that gets plus defense equal to twice the number of clashes you've won this turn.
Mirrors and bigger, taller matchups. Do you play that?
That's a weird card.
It's a weird card. I think it's bad.
Seems
Maybe.
counterintuitive because
But it might be good. And that's the issue, is that like,
you clash one time and it is a blue that blocks 5.
yeah, so like, okay, I don't know. Let's just say Crippling Crush, right? Like you're getting thrown with a Crippling Crush at your face for 11, right? You throw this card in front of the Crippling Crush, you throw the other Clash card in front of the Crippling Crush, and now you've blocked with 2 cards for, let's just say it's a blue block 3 that clashes, right? Not Test of Strength. Then this one blocks for 5, the other one blocks for 3. That's a 2-card 8. Like, good, we did it. We covered Crippling Crush.
Nice. Yeah, that's true.
But like, other than those like specific scenarios, I don't really see it showing up. But in limited, that's really strong because a lot of these heroes look like they want to go tall.
Yeah, I can see this as like a total like game turnaround in limited. Because you like win a clash that your opponent started, right? They played something that clashed. You win it, and then they go to attack you, and you could like 1 card block them for 5 or 7.
Yeah,
like that's strong.
They do like Brute does like Brute leg tap or whatever the Brute go against is going to be. All right, we clash on that thing, and then they throw out their other 6, and then it's like, all right, cool, this one blocks for 5.
And then I think the last new card that was spoiled was specifically Victor's Specialization. It's a 4 cost for 7, yellow 3-block. It's not legendary, so you could run 3. As an additional cost to play this, you may destroy a gold you control. Hey, gold payoff. If you do, this gets +3 and overpower. When you win a clash revealing this, create a gold token.
Yeah, this card's cracked.
Yeah, this seems insane.
This card's so good in so many levels.
It's got a 7, which is super cool. It blocks for 3, which is super cool.
It
it's
turns
pretty
any
easy to get the +3
into a potential test of strength.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did I hear you say it cost 4?
It's a 4 for it's almost a 4 for 10. Like it's a 4 for a 10 overpower.
We were just talking about how you get that free extra seismic surge too. It's crazy. It's gonna be free. It's gonna be a 1 blue 4. It's gonna be you see it. Wait, when you see it.
Well, okay, Justin, you seemed excited about this one. Tell me about it.
All right, so it does a lot of things for me that I'm really excited for in Victor. I'm wanting to see ways to generate gold, right? Because that's going to be a huge part of his kit no matter what, right? And then this is also a gold payoff. So this is playing both sides of that coin immediately for him, while also being a block 3, which obviously all those are huge things for Victor. It having overpower is huge, because if you ever played Oldhim, you didn't have access to the keyword dominate like Bravo does, right? Bravo literally has it on his hero power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Betsy has overpower printed on her hero, right? Like a big weakness of Guardian sometimes is closing out games, because you get into a late game situation, all right, they're at 1 or 2, and the best thing I can do is throw a blue Cranial Crush at you for 8, right? You're going to block with a couple cards, and we're just going to trade cards back and forth at that point. So getting access to 10 overpower is like huge for the deck, because that was one of the biggest problems with Oldhim. And I think one of the things that really drove people crazy about Oldhim was that it was like, all right, I was dead 10 turns ago. He just had to damage fatigue me, and I just blocked for forever because that's what we had to do.
Yeah.
And we'll actually just close out a game.
Now, with 4-cost attacks, what do you think is going to be the de facto chess piece for Guardians? Is it just going to be strictly Tunic?
I don't know. I'm hoping it's not Tunic because I'm sick of playing Tunic and Guardians. I really like Tech Plating. It's kind of one of my favorite pet cards that I never get to play because it's not as good. Like until you're playing like a long grindy mirror, like in the Guardian mirror, Tech Plating's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's like currently, I think I have another tab pulled up where it's like, oh, I'm ready to deck build for this set, and it's just Crown of Providence, Tunic, 3 Sync Blows, and 3 CNCs, and that's like, I think that's just your starting point for every one of these heroes right now.
No pummel?
Well, all the heroes. That's including like Olympia and Kasai and KO and Rhinar.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just kind of like a generic. I mean, you got your staples, your sinks, they're insane,
like-
and your CNCs, they're insane. Crown of Providence and Tunic, you have to have.
Man,
Yeah,
Tunic
like-
just gets better when there's lots of Vigor tokens around too, because you start being able to 0 card play Command and Conquer.
Yeah, I mean, there's
If you have a floating Vigor token in the Tunic, that's just Command and Conquer out of Arsenal for free.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see which heroes coming out kind of gravitate to which tokens.
Mhm.
Because like there's only so many like gold effects that you can put in a deck, or there's only so many vigor token effects that you can put in a deck. So it's going to be like an interesting deck building tension there.
Yeah, because you can't have them all. I mean, you
Yep.
just don't have enough spaces. You won't be able to like, oh, I want my vigors and my agilities, and like you'll have to make some kind of a concession.
And they've
As a
definitely
guardian, if you're
tried-
running those, you're not running debilitate, you're not running spinal crush, you're not running pulverize, you're not running cards with on hits, and that's like a huge part of Guardian's identity is on hits.
Why wouldn't you be running those?
Okay, typically a Guardian deck only has like 36 or has like 36 to 37 blues minimum, right? You can go up to like 40-ish, 43.
Okay.
So then let's just say then you get 7 play sets. Let's make it easy. Let's just say I'm playing 39 blues. That means I get 7 play sets of reds, right? So Test of Strength is crazy. We've already talked about that card. That card can be like 1 card 7, 2 card 13 if you're including like Anothos nonsense and shenanigans, which probably should have talked about that. Pitching a blue 3 cost to crack a gold token, drawing the card. Pitching the other blue 3 cost that you draw to swing Anothos is a 1 card 6.
Yep.
Oh, like
It's
Test of
cheating.
Strength, drawing that 1 card in theory, right? If you use it for the Anothos, is a 1
Wait.
card 10.
Hold up. Not only is it a 1 card 6, don't you technically have 1 floating and you could Tunic pummel?
Yeah, but yeah, you could like in a real world game. I don't know if I would,
So
but you can.
It's potentially a 2 card 10. Seems good.
Well, with Test of Strength, it already is a 2 card 10, right?
Yeah, you get the value from the Test of Strength.
Well, I'm saying with the gold. Anothos plus a gold token.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it could jump you up
like
to
just,
a 2
just in a
card
vacuum,
10.
it could be a 2 card 10. Yeah,
Yeah.
Which is good. Like those are good numbers. Guardian
Yeah.
has not had one of the weaknesses of Guardian for forever has been like it does big numbers, but at a cost, right? Like I can throw Crippling Crush at you for 11, but that costs 7, right?
Yeah,
Like, that's
you
not-
had to take damage the previous turn, and 11 in a single turn is not. It's a lot less than it sounds, right? When you compare it to like
Exactly.
Phi, who's trying to deal you 30 damage in 1 turn.
Yeah, or like Dio or KO can just kill you in 1 turn. So it's like sick, dude. I'll gladly take your 11. If it was just vanilla damage. Like it's the reason Thunderquake doesn't get played into every matchup. Thunderquake Red to be specific. But anyways, so back to the point. So Test of Agility, probably some other D-React is going to take up 2 of your defensive slots. They will pivot back and forth with like your aggressive cards. Spinal Crush, I don't think ever gets to leave a Guardian deck for as long as it exists.
Yeah.
Right? Just because
so
it
good.
does everything for you. It's a big number. It's disruptive versus decks that want to play low to the ground that can't block. It just does a lot for you. Right? Then let's just say we have 2 gold creation cards, right? So we're already at 5, right? In red. Right? Oh, we have to run Pummel because we have to make sure that our gold creation cards hit. right? In order for me to do stuff. I have 1 slot left to try to make more tokens.
Wait, what about where does Golden Sun come in?
Golden Sun could also be that one. Yes.
Yeah.
So then there you go. Like, you're out of effects at that point. Like, it's going to be real. Like,
I see what you're saying.
Victor
we're hoping for
and
some really
Betsy-
big booty blues then that can
Yes.
like make the deck transformative.
Yeah, that's going to be where like the transformative deck building is like, what are the what are the blues, to figure out if you're going to be doing token stuff or if you're just doing generic good stuff.
Does the idea and I guess the extra sort of setup or the ability to sort of like generate the vigor, like to do this, does that alleviate the need to run that many blues? Like, can you now operate on a lower blue cost because your turns are very much more defined as set up big smash? Like, what I'm, I mean, is there a way to? I know it's hard to say now, but I mean, would that let you run less blues and sort of open up the reds a little bit more if you're able to do this sort of setup game plan that seems to have success? So you're gaining extra vigor. And so maybe you don't need the blues, or you're generating extra seismic surge tokens, and so you're able to run a leaner blue because you're.
Yeah, there's like a 30-30 deck out there that might exist, but my issue, it is something that is interesting that will be worth testing and playing with. But to me, especially in Guardian, you never know what your next hand's going to be.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's a chance that you just draw 4 reds and you bricked, and that sucks and you wasted your vigor token.
Yeah.
Or there's a chance that you draw 4 blues, and wow, I'm using a vigor token to come in with a buckling blow when I could have just like just pitched to like hammer 6 anyways.
Right.
I know when you're playing against a Guardian and you're getting beat up and you're behind, sometimes you just block and hope he draws a handful of reds. And then the Guardian sometimes loses on the spot.
Yep.
So you don't want to put so many reds that you want to draw 1 hand of reds like per game, if less than that. You draw 2,
E-Strike is
you
back
just
in all the
kinda,
decks is because the red bricks are so bad.
yeah.
You have to survive them.
So
Okay.
that's why if you hear people like ranting about the 39 blues, that's why, because a handful of blues is often better than a handful of reds.
I would when I'm saying I'm like 36, 35, maybe just a little squeak, but no, I can understand that it matters a lot, the ratios and stuff, and you definitely don't want to draw a brick hand, then there's no point in setting up. So it was interesting. I'd like to see how the card pool fleshes out, whether there is an option for that to run just slightly leaner, to open it up so it doesn't feel so, I guess, pigeonholed in design. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have to have this static amount of blues. Just kind of open it up a little bit. But I think it's great. I mean, I think the new heroes are going to definitely. Well, I mean, I think the new heroes are definitely going to have an impact. I don't think this is going to be like a Vincent Prism type situation. I actually think that one of these heroes is going to come out, if not multiple. I mean, KO looks insane to me, and I think Victor looks fantastic. So I think right off the rip, I think you have a Brute and a Guardian who are going to make some kind of a splash. I'll either kill you on turn 1, or I will do very well defend. I mean, like, we're getting an opposite ends of the spectrum thing here. I think Victor can easily slide into a fatiguey style Oldhim. But Justin, do you think he's warranted that title? Like, do you think he is Oldhim? Is he fatigue level?
No.
Is he?
No, he acts totally different.
Okay.
You don't have ice react. You don't,
yeah,
no, channel like frigid. You don't.
You do generate card differential with the destroying of the cards. You kind of get to draw an extra card, but you're not actually recycling with Crown. Like, Crown would bottom and then draw, so you weren't necessarily losing that card. But I don't know. I wonder if he's still going to be able to create sort of that weird card differential because he's nixing cards off of certain people's decks.
Do you think?
No, he's still going to be able to do like every Guardian right now has what I call like damage or pressure fatigue, like built into their kit, where it's like, I don't actually end up killing you. Like, especially the new Bravo decks, they only have like 38 to 37 blues. You're running a real lean blue count, so you never dominate anything as Bravo right now. You just throw attacks at people until they die. He's gonna have that going on. Like, every Guardian's gonna do that. But what made Oldhim feel the way it did to a lot of people, in my eyes, like as an Oldhim player, was that I actively shut down your game plan, right? Like I could just throw out Channel Lake Frigid on a 2-card hand, and now you're looking at your hand of 4 reds, and you're like, well, the best thing I'm doing now is doing head jab, right?
Right.
Like it was that kind of thing where it just, and like I had ice reacts and earth reacts and all that kind of stuff. And Crown of Seeds, obviously, like you wanted to have your big turn, you always got to be able to do it. Where Victor is able to interact with your opponent and is able to have these really spiky turns, but you, as my opponent, are still able to enact your game plan.
Right. I see what you're saying. There's a lot more agency, but between the decks rather than old him covering up a 3 free by Earth reacting, getting the 2, and then Crown of Seeding, and there's three block right there for absolute 0 cost. It was a 0 for 3. I just netted 3 points of damage prevention for fun.
Loved
And
it.
I also have an extra card in my hand to block. So congratulations. I'm now blocking for at least 18 usually, if not even higher. So Merry Christmas.
With what you have available now and what you think might be released, is Victor better than Bravo?
Yes.
Okay.
I like
So
it.
he'll be the
Okay, with just the cards that we have right now, no. He is not better than Bravo because you'd have to run 9 wage golds, and that card blocks 2, and that is bad. Like, can't do that in a Guardian. Can't be running a rainbow of that, and then have to run pummels. That's too many 2 blocks.
Yeah.
However, his text box is insane. They are clearly giving him cards that are good. We
haven't even seen
things that
them
I'm
yet.
looking for, that if they print any of them, it just hits my checkbox of like, all right, yes, now he is the de facto Guardian.
Are we getting a new Guardian chess piece?
Wait. So you don't think Betsy's even in the conversation?
Okay, let's talk
In
about Betsy.
Yeah.
Betsy,
Let's talk about Betsy, because we talked about Betsy a while back, but now that we have somebody that knows Guardian, let's hear a Guardian player's perspective on Betsy.
Okay, what makes Bravo really good is that his hero text box is very proactive, right? 2 cost dominate, right? Cool, that's proactive.
Yeah.
And he has a bunch of blue block 3, so he can be reactive, right? Like he can just react to what you're doing and be able to play in both directions, right? And his cards have on hits. The issue is, and I have to see wagers with an on hit, right? Like, I don't know, a 4 for 8 that says wager, discard a card, right? Like wagering a discard effect or something. Because if you're putting these wager effects into your deck, like, cool. Now I, instead of having a 3-card 10, I had a 3-card 11, right?
I see what you're saying. Yep.
Yeah, now I'm just going to go like, we're just going to talk about the Phi example over and over again. Now I just kill you, right? Like, you have to have on hits to keep up with these decks that just have simply way better math than you, right? Because they're 2 blocks and their hand scaling is just better than yours.
Mhm.
So I need to see some of those types of effects from Betsy in order to be really, really good. Or her weapon is just like, they give her a specialization weapon that's insane, and then we're cooking. Because her hero text box, to me, revolves around like giving some non-attack actions that like put wager on the weapon, and then the weapon does something cool, right? Like that's how I'm reading her.
Okay.
She's also going to be insane and limited, because overpower and limited
yeah.
is a very good keyword.
I think she's gonna be very strong and limited, but I don't think she'll be. I think her hero power just reads slightly worse than Bravo when talking about her in Classic Constructed. And she's got to have that wager mechanic built into all the attacks, so she can't use any of the Guardian attacks unless she uses a non-attack action that gives it wager.
Mm-hmm. And like what made Oldhim so strong was that he was able to access the whole Guardian card pool, and it was just fine. Where both of these heroes, as strong as we think they are, like there's a real cost to running wage gold or whatever the Clash gold card's going to be over a chokeslam, over a disable, over a debilitate, right? Like you are taking on hits out of your deck to create this gold so you can have better math. So it's going to be a real interesting like tension push pull there to see like which on hits stay. Because right now Bravo is literally just on hit deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's been his entire identity since WTR, right?
Yeah. So but
that kind of disappoints me, because I really like the way Betsy looks. I mean, like, just I like the overpower, but that's from somebody that doesn't play Guardian, I don't know.
You never know. They
She's-
might just print straight up gas. You like.
I mean,
Yeah.
we don't
There's a
know what
lot
the
of
weapon
cards
is
to
still.
spoil.
Yeah.
We don't know what else is coming out. We don't. I speculate there's going to be some Guardian equipment. Maybe. I mean, there has to be something, right?
Mm.
Something like, and when I mean equipment, I mean something a little bit more tailored for this clash or wagering type of mechanic. I mean, I'm not saying tectonic plating is bad by any means. It's just that we're not getting an adult Volta here where we really care about seismic surge creation. I mean, we do, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, is there room for a legendary clash type piece? Does that make it even crazier? I mean, does Victor just go through the roof if he has an extra way of gold generating through gear?
It's a shield.
Oh, don't do it.
I think it's a shield too.
It's
Don't.
a shield.
Don't do it.
Isn't it
It's a
kind of
shield.
hinted like a shield with a lion on it?
Rampart of the Lion's Head. Calling it now. Get ready for it.
Oh no. Not another Rampart. We don't need this.
It'll have something like Clash. Do
Flash
something.
do something.
Yeah.
Clash
Whatever the
Oh,
new
that would
keyword
make
is
sense.
between Temper and Battle Worn.
Oh.
Oh, the
Oh,
new
yeah, it
keyword.
might be
I
the new
completely
What do you
keyword,
think
forgot
that's
about
going to be? What? How do you think that's going to work? Like, what is between Temper and Battle Worn? That doesn't make any sense to me. Isn't that just Blade Break?
No, I assume it's going to lose some. I assume, like, again, that there's going to be some amount of charges that are going to. You're going to lose -1 on the armor for doing something, and when it hits a certain threshold, it'll break. It's like a mixture. It won't break when you block with it. It'll just lose 1 or use the effect, or whatever. But when it gets to a certain minus, like if you get it T-boned off for the 3rd time or something, it's like, okay, maybe it blocks for 2, and once it gets 1 less than it had, it goes -1. Technically, it dies. That to me is between it. Is because Battle Worn, I could block with it infinitely. No matter how many times you T-bone my equipment, I could just keep giving you my Brave Force bracers. But like, let's say it says, no, you have 4 counters, that piece dies now. That's what I'm considering is between the two of them. You can't
Or it
keep
could
feeding
be
the same piece.
in order to use the ability, you have to put a minus defense counter
That's-
on it or something.
That's what I think
Isn't that
there
just
has to be
Temper, though?
something like that. No, well, no, because then
No.
Temper hits 0, it breaks.
So yeah, it'll like break it once it hits 0. So you have to. I don't know. It's hard to
No.
know exactly what that means. I'm excited to see because isn't the new thing that's replacing Crown of Providence supposed to have that keyword too, the balance of justice?
Yes.
Is it replacing Crown of Providence?
For
Oh, for the prize card.
as
For the
the
prize
gold-
card.
for the prize
for the
card.
gold,
Yeah,
yeah.
And we don't know if
Yeah.
it's going to be a headpiece or boots. Everyone just assumes headpiece because it's replacing crown, but balance could be
What about-
boots.
Not necessarily.
Balance could
though.
be gloves.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about Guardian? What about gloves? What about Guardian gloves? You guys have Crater Fist.
Maybe
Wouldn't
it's
some
a
gloves be
shield?
nice?
No, don't take Crater Fist away from me. I love that card.
No, it's going to be generic that everyone can use. That's so
Yeah.
gloves or
It-
boots are my call.
If you're speculating on Guardian equipment, you're looking at either Guardian headpiece or legs because Civic Steps is put behind a UPF product, right? Like that's
They
not
did
something
that
that is,
intentionally.
yeah, they absolutely did. But
Absolutely.
that's not something that's like immediately accessible for everybody. So
What Guardian headpiece is there right now?
Helm of the Eisen Peak. It is
That's
a cost 1, uses your action point, draw 5 cards.
Oh boy.
Or sorry, draw up.
I think
draw up
I think
to 5.
we're slated to get a headpiece that lets you choose between something and Crown of Providence. That'd be
I don't know.
nice.
Crown of Providence is so good for Guardians.
It's crazy because even when you do have options, you think, man, filtering a card and blocking 2, that's pretty good.
So for Guardians, also like a big thing that I do, especially when I'm playing like versus aggro decks, is I hold my Crown of Providence until like I can tell, all right, this is the pop off turn, and then it's my old him at home impression, and I just like yeet my arsenal away.
For an extra block card.
for an extra block card.
Yep. It's so
I was
good.
thinking
It's
about
so
it. No,
good.
it is. It is. You
Blocking
get the 2 from
17
that.
in 1 turn.
The
Yep.
3, 5, 12. Yeah, that's
Yep.
actually really good.
Yep.
My old him at home impression. I like that.
Hey,
That's
it
smart
works.
though. That's very smart.
Yeah.
Like when you're
So
trying to
once-
block out dash and stuff, that's exactly what you're supposed to do with all classes. You run Crown of Providence. When you hit that pivotal turn, you use it to empty out whatever's in your arsenal to get that extra block card. You just try to get 1 card in your arsenal and leave it there until you use ground.
So best limited guardian, in your opinion?
Probably Betsy, but both of them have weaknesses into different heroes. Like Victor, if you're doing the clash stuff, he's not really going to want to see brutes that much. Where Betsy, I think, is going to want to see all the brutes, but Overpower doesn't really have text versus warriors because reactions are reactions, right? Like they get
Right.
around the word overpower. Where Victor wants to clash with every single warrior on the planet. Like, please give me all the warriors. Like, give me every single Kasai. Like, I want to see every Kasai when I'm playing Victor, just so I can clash you and fatigue you and just hit you with hammers.
That's gonna be. I was thinking about it. Like, I want to play Kasai, and I was like, man, like, how do I beat that? Like, how do I? And especially in limited, how do I beat losing cards off the top when I already know it's going to be so hard to get over this monster? It's blocking 3.
Miller's Grindstone is a rare, so it won't. That's not the token weapon. That'll be like a kind of a bomb that you could get that creates an archetype that you could play, right? You could intentionally go fatigue.
Yeah, I'm expecting Titan's Fist to be the token weapon.
Really?
Titan's Fist, do you think is going to be the token?
That's very uncreative, but I mean, we also got Rhinar reprint.
And Rhinar is going to be Rhinar. Okay. Rhinar this time around looks really scary to me in limited.
I was about to ask: is Rhinar the best hero in limited?
He might be.
Well, I mean, I think he always is because of the spike. I mean, like the ability
you can't
block him. Yeah, so it's like
Beat chest is so modular, dude. That beat chest is my favorite mechanic they have ever printed, and it is really, really good.
It's so simple but so cool at the same time. Like the fact that it carries over to other cards with that keyword, and oh, man, I love it. This limited format's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be really good.
Yeah, I don't play any of these classes, but I'm excited for this set. I mean, I think I said the same exact thing.
You did for Mech.
My brain is for Bright Lights. I opened up so many packs of Bright Lights. Why couldn't I remember the name of the set?
That was great.
The limited in that set was fantastic. The heroes, I think, were all quite different in what they wanted to do. I think this is I'm not saying poised the same, but I think you have a fatiguey type of a guardian. You've got your more aggro. I think that there's archetypes in this limited that are sort of reminiscent from the last one. The overpower's back, so I think it feels good. A lot of block 3s, a lot of block cards, a lot of heavy cards, a lot of things you can do off of 1 to 2 cards. Feels like a good set. Feels like a very good set, unless you're playing Kasai into certain matchups, and I think you're gonna have a really fun time depending upon how hot you're at, because I just don't know. I just don't see the toolkit yet.
I don't know.
Cards block real well.
She just needs to draw a card, and then she's creating like crazy value during her turn.
Like, she is, but it's
in limited.
It's
throwing 2 sabers is insane.
They're good. The sabers are good, but there's no relevant on hit, and they're 4 damage.
There is a relevant on hit. You only have 20 life.
Yeah, on hit kill them is pretty good.
Yeah, on hit kill them is pretty good, but then she's gonna have to like spend the next turn blocking whatever 11 comes at her. That's probably Clash and Wager that she can't possibly beat. So then she's just like,
it's funny, but I think Warrior might be as effective at fatiguing as Guardian will be because of the Centauri sabers. If you get enough go again effects that you get to throw both sabers every turn, and the person's like, "Oh, I'm gonna block this out." You only have to you block the Centauri sabers out like 3 times, you're decked. Like, you better put on the gas because you are now going to be fatigued.
Okay, so let's draw the comparison to Outsiders Limited then. Do you think the Warriors are going to fill the same role that the Ninjas did?
Where the deck is really good if it
kick kind of playstyle?
Assassin.
I was going to say the Guardians are the Assassins. I think Brutes are the Ninjas, and the Warriors are the Rangers, but totally different. And that's where the analogy falls apart. Is that like...
yeah.
Okay.
Although Kasai might just be able to delete you out of nowhere. Like, that is something that Kasai can just do. Like, some of those turns are crazy.
That was that's in Blitz with blood on our hands, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
but think about it this way, right? Because those things come in for 2, and if you block it with an attack, it goes up to 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Brutes and Guardians are mostly what? Attacks?
Yeah.
So then 2 resources for 6 damage. No cards out of deck.
Sometimes free if you figure out a way to
give the
draw a card.
weapon go again, right?
Yeah, but like just like those 2 cards, right? Like that's
Yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm wondering where the go again pick, because like obviously if this was access to full full cards, whatever, you're blade running, you're hit and running, you're having a good time. But I just don't know how she's going to get enough go again. It'll have to be through some kind of agility creation, but I don't know how she's going to do that consistently if she's trying to wager.
I think we're going to get some
Oh, yeah.
very standard warrior cards that say your next weapon attack this turn has go again.
They have to be careful with that though, man. I don't think you want to introduce that many more warrior go again cards.
I think they're going to be reprints.
Maybe some reprints.
Okay, I could see some reprints.
Might get a Warrior's Valor with new art where they're in the arena.
See some of that.
Yeah.
Maybe some Blade Runner reprints. That would be
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner would be so good.
No,
if they reprint
please.
Blade Runner, I'll be playing Kasai every limited. Calling it right now.
God.
There won't be a single limited where I don't just play it. Kasai me.
Oh,
Feels good.
So stacked in your favor is basically Stonewall Confidence at home, right? Like it's the same idea. But except now it's a 2 block. So I'm wondering if they're just going to do more of that, where it's like more 2 block effects that already exist.
They have been very liberal with printing things that have less than 3 block recently. I think our equation is things block 3 are good. Well, we can't make everything good.
Yeah.
And if every good card also blocks 3, Warmonger's Diplomacy, people will just shove it into their deck because it's just...
If Warmongers blocked 2, it would be unplayable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because Warmongers is there to just be a blue block 3 and have an effect if relevant.
Unplayable is very strong because it does kind of say some decks don't get a turn, but it wouldn't be just a blue card that you could shove into your deck.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited.
I do see what you're saying about about them powering down the block values as well. I mean, it's heavy hitters. You want everybody to be swinging. So if you're not getting maximum value out of your blocks, you got to be throwing them across the table. I mean, it's a death match. You're not trying necessarily to fatigue unless your name is Vincent. So Victor.
I'm just gonna play Brute. I don't need block value on my cards because I need to hold on to them to discard them anyway. Gotta beat chest.
Unga bunga.
Unga bunga.
That will be the kind of the pitfall too. Then a Brute, right, is you're milling yourself out of cards, so you're kind of susceptible to that. I mean, granted, it's Reinhardt or limited or KO. Who knows? But I mean, at least that is the drawback, that you're nixing cards out of your deck when you are doing it.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you play Brute and you really think about it, especially if you play the cheetah cards where you draw a card and discard a card, you're almost playing like crappy mechanologist.
Yeah. I see.
KO's gross. KO's gross.
Oh.
Consistent Brute is scary.
Yes. I think the new KO is great. I was mainly just thinking about like in general, throwing out a card, draw a card, discard a card, you lose a card. You're not actually throwing 6 damage. It is 6 damage there on paper, but the threat density of the card was actually only 3 because you lost a card to do that. And that's the same thing mechanologists have to deal with. You throw a red throttle. That red throttle looks really great, but the threat density of that card was actually only 3, not 6.
Okay. We got anything else, guys?
No, I'm excited. I'm excited to play some Guardians, some Warriors, some Brutes.
I think I should bring up, if you won a Pro Quest or if you have a PTI or if you have a Pro invite at all or anything, you need to use that. You need to go ahead and register because registrations are open. So go ahead and register for Pro Tour. I already put in my registration, so super excited.
Nice. And anybody that's going to buy a PTI, Michael Feng, Pro Tour champion Michael Feng, is now offering a middleman service. That way you can purchase your PTI in a confident way.
For $1. He's being a $1 middleman, which I think is fantastic. It's something the PTIs are like a really, really easy way to get scammed.
Yeah, I 100%. He's also really good on the Facebook Marketplace. He does, and in the Discord as well. A lot of moderation in there as well, trying to keep track of who's scamming emails and things like that. So, I mean, shout outs to him. I mean, he's all over the place, making sure people are getting a fair deal. And for $1, that's fantastic. I was like, Pro Tours for $1, man. Let me get one of those real quick.
I mean, literally, who could you trust more than one of the most public figures in Flesh and Blood? I mean, dude's cool.
Good people.
Absolutely good people. Bab's full of good people.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. That's all we got. Justin, where can everybody find you on social medias? Do you have any social medias or anything that you want to plug? Anything?
Yeah, anything with you.
I have no clue what my socials are. I use Twitter sometimes, and that's about it.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So you're just gonna stay a mystery. That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Sorry.
What about you, Noah?
You can find me at BigMaxFab on Twitter and twitch.tv/LitSoHeavy right now. And we'll be Big Max again in March.
Check.
Looking forward to
Sounds
it.
good. Thomas?
Yeah, you could find me pretty much everywhere at Wet the System, specifically on Twitter at Wet the System Fab.
And I am Draco Hominus 87 on just about any platform you want to look me up on. Specifically Discord and Twitter. I'm really easy to find. If you want to chat, hit me up. I'm not shy. I also write for fabric.gg, and my next article is coming out on Friday. We're recording Wednesday nights, so it'll be coming out on Friday, and this one is going to be the UPF brew that I did for Professor Techlodaddy. So if you're interested in UPF, keep your eyes on Fabric. It's coming in a couple of days. But anything else?
Nothing from me.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week. And if you did, subscribe or follow depending on where you found us to catch us again next time. Until then, take care of yourselves. And remember, we are all siblings in cardboard.
Thank you so much, Patreons. Discard your cards, folks. 2024, the year of discards.